Hey everybody, today we are talking about a big fat bullshit article that was put out about the DC housing market crashing since the Doge layoff.
It is crashing. You gotta stay tuned to find out.
And we're not politically oriented at all, but this article is a piece of... Oh, I said it once. It's a POS.
All right, here we go. All right, Sean and Kelly here with the Price and Price Group of Sampson Properties, and we are,
It's a hot topic, man.
I love doing this because I get heated because we have our clients and everybody's reading all this bullshit, in the...
I've already broken that.
I know,
it's fine.
You're right. All this bullshit that's in the media. And we're going to actually take an article and we're going to break it down not with opinion, but with the actual stats from the actual multiple listing service.
Yes, that's facts. But let's talk about how this article even came into our awareness.
Yes. One of our clients sent it to us and said, "Hey, is this going on in the market? Is the market about to crash?"
Look at this article.
Yeah. And this is what happens. And buyers and sellers start missing opportunities. They start making bad decisions because they're making them based on BS like this versus truth.
Yeah, we're not going to say that anymore.
Yeah,
I think three's our quote.
Yeah, maybe we might actually get shadow banned.
What is that?
That's where instead of getting like 60 or 70 views, we would get like 10 or 15.
But banned, isn't that like a...
No, that's why it's a shadow ban. They don't actually ban you. You're still on, but they just don't put you in the algorithms. The logarithms.
Okay,
that's a
whole thing that I don't even want to think about.
I don't think we're in an algorithm, so I think we're fine. We are shadow ban proof.
We're in algorithm-free zone here.
Can't touch us. Okay, so let's dive into this article.
Okay, so I'm just going to read it.
Yeah, and so we're going to dive. This article is longer than what we're going to cover because it goes into stats about the layoffs and all this stuff. We're talking specifically about the real estate market.
Yes.
This is not a political conversation.
We're not talking about is it a good idea, bad idea. None of that is factoring into, because that's just not our area, right?
Yeah,
we don't do that.
And this is not a political conversation. This is just a factual conversation to call the media out on its BS.
We do have to say that this article titled "Washington, D.C. Housing Market Plummets as Doge Lays Off Thousands of Federal Workers."
The market is plummeting. Oh my gosh.
It was published February 16th.
Yep.
For dailymail.com.
Yep. That's
I'm
right.
not going to call out the chick's name because she's probably great at what
It's
she
right
does.
here.
Well, I know, but I don't have to say it out loud.
No, you don't have to say it out loud.
My mom almost named me that name and I hated it.
Oof,
but I like the name now. Can't cut that because I sound like a dick. Anyway.
Alright. I'll use that.
Okay, here I go. Forgive me, I'm recovering still from a...
Yeah, so welcome to Kelly back.
Illness.
She has been out for quite some time.
I think I must have had the bird flu.
I think you had the bird flu. She was down for a while.
Okay.
Anyway.
Home prices in Washington, D.C. have plummeted since the Trump administration and the Department of Government Efficiency began discussing layoffs. Since Donald Trump took office, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, has fired thousands of federal workers in a push to reduce spending. In the wake of those layoffs, droves of former federal employees have packed up their bags and put their homes on the market, causing the average listing price to sink, said the TKL.
Okay.
This is a letter. I don't know how to pronounce
So
that.
notice the language, and as we go through this conversation, I do want to say something. We do know some people that have been affected by these layoffs.
Yes.
This is not making light of the challenges that people are facing and the stress that families are going through. This is to shed a light on the statistical analysis of the DC market.
Again,
so
we are talking about the housing market only.
And we're talking specifically about this snapshot in time that is being quoted from this report.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so
you go.
the house is searched. Well, now we're going to go to the second part. We're going to go through the summary of the actual.
Oh, I'm surprised. Oh, this is the second part that you really get heated on.
This is where I'm about to have fun.
Second, in November, the median, this is the article. In November, the median home in the nation's capital was worth $699K according to Redfin.
Okay.
By February, the median home value dropped 20%, bringing the price down to only $560K.
20% drop. Oh my gosh!
Moly.
You mean that house that was $699 is
let
now
me
worth
finish.
$560?
Let me
Okay.
finish.
Yes, ma'am. Go.
TKL found there are now nearly 8,000 homes listed for sale in the Washington, D.C. metro area, and almost half of them have been put on the market in the last 30 days.
What? In the spring market? What?
There has also been a surge in new listings of homes over $1 million. According to TKL, There are 525 listings worth $1 million and 44 listings worth $5 million, suggesting Doge layoffs could affect people in high-profile jobs. One more line here, and then I'm
gonna dive in.
You're gonna do it.
Okay.
Okay, it finishes off to say Redfin agents in Washington, D.C. reported that return to office mandates and uncertainty for federal workers have caused a listing surge.
This is gonna be so interesting to dive into this. So let's dive into first, let's not dive into the median house price, we'll do that in a second.
I want you to talk about first the 8,000
Yeah.
homes listed that it reported, so like the kind of the second. Start me off in the middle.
Okay, and that's an important thing because we always preach and talk about supply and demand.
Yes.
So if the supply goes up and demand is higher than supply, then prices go up. If demand is less than supply, then prices go down.
Right.
8,000 new homes, that indicates, based on what this article is trying to say, that inventory is way up, so prices are coming down.
And they're talking about the DC metro area. Okay, so let's start off with defining that. And you have some graphs to show us, right?
I do.
And you pulled not only DC, but to include the surrounding metro area, which is some counties in Maryland and some counties in
Virginia.
Northern Virginia.
And including DC. And did you notice the little switch here from the median home values were in DC specific?
Yes.
But the massive inventory is, if you didn't catch that, now you think there's 8,000
That changes a heck of a lot of numbers.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so these numbers were pulled specifically from our multiple listing service. Now I used a different program because our multiple listing service, once you go over 5,000 listings, it says 5,000 plus. I couldn't get a specific number. So I went into another search that we use that's directly linked to the multiple listing service to get exact numbers.
Yes.
So,
and if you ever want to search on this, you just need us to let you in, right? So get in touch with us and we can make sure that you have access to this site as well.
Absolutely. So I wanted to show you two different screenshots. So the first screenshot is showing the area that I put, and I'll give you the actual area in just a second, right down here. These are the counties that are considered the DC metro area. This also includes Fairfax City County and Alexandria City County. Those are not typically included in Metro DC stats, but I put those in there because those are the area.
In action, they usually are. Okay,
It should be, yeah.
I think they should be.
So we
it's
came
saying
up with,
it found nearly 8,000 homes
Yes.
listed for sale in this area that you
Yep.
just pulled, right?
So I pulled, now that was on February 16th. We are now in the first week of March. So some of those could have sold, and you'll see why.
Yes.
So we pulled 5,763 results. Now what's interesting about this is in the time that it took me to pull this first snapshot right here and go down to take the second screenshot, 2 houses came off the market. So that just shows how real time this is.
Yeah,
This
so
is a
that's why
snapshot
those
in
numbers
time.
are different, right?
Exactly.
It's just like even moments.
Yep. Okay, so there's 5,761 properties on the market. That seems like a lot, okay?
It's not 8,000.
It's not 8,000, that's true. And maybe they used a bigger area. They didn't clarify what they did. Maybe they took a bigger radius to get to that 8,000.
Or maybe there's like a newfangled way of rounding. It's not like 1, 5, 10. Maybe it's like
1,
2,
5,
8. And this was closer to 8 than 2.
Could be.
There's always that.
They could have also included commercial properties. It's hard telling what they did. So
maybe that.
Yeah.
But do you guys care about commercial properties?
I don't care.
Private, personal?
Well, I mean, I care, but
Maybe.
okay, but this isn't the only thing. So this is the supply, right? They gave one stat, supply.
Yes.
What's the demand look like? Are these properties sitting on the market? Well,
They came on the market.
yeah,
Oh
in the
my
last 30
gosh.
days.
Everything has changed.
Yes. Okay.
You know what sold?
I don't know what's sold, but I know what is active and pending, which are the properties that came off the market.
Okay,
as of
active
today.
pending means that they went under
A
contract.
buyer has them under contract.
Yes.
So 5,761, I believe, was the number, and we have 5,304 that have gone off the market
Yes.
that are under
Like
contract.
in that same,
Right.
yes.
So the demand, we have less than 2 months inventory. If no new inventory came on the market and this pace continued, we would be out of inventory in about 1.2 months.
That would be very sad. It's
Yeah,
already kind of
which
sad
is a
for
strong
buyers
seller's
out there
market.
right now.
Yeah. So the simple fact is they're putting a statistic here. They're trying to paint a picture. The picture is inaccurate, and they're not showing the other side of the picture. We're going into the spring market. Inventory is going to shoot up, and so is that buyer demand.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
So can you talk now about, they talked about the median home price. They
Yeah,
said
yeah.
that it was $699
Okay.
in what?
November.
In November, and then they're like, oh my gosh, it dropped 20% to February. So
Okay.
can you?
Yeah. So first thing I want to point out is why did they pick November and then go to February? Why didn't they do January versus February? I mean,
Well-
that's a little bit of a question. Second thing to look at is remember that median home values are based on median sales prices, which I'm going to define that in just a second. So these properties that sold in November and produced that median sales price of $699 were actually under contract in either September or October.
Right.
The houses in February that dropped 20%, those were under contract in January. Trump didn't even take office until January 20th. These are not reflecting anything to do with these layoffs and these cuts. This is the January market.
That's a very good point to make.
Yeah, which the January market is typically a slower market.
It is
Okay.
a slower market.
So let's dive into what is the median sales price. I've gone through this in several of our market reports. Just want to run through it real quick.
It's so important, right, to wrap your
Yeah.
head around what a median price is versus an average price.
Right, yeah. So the median sales price is the number that falls right in the middle. So in this very, very simplistic example, in month one, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sales. So sale number 5 is right in the middle. So month one, the median sales price is $500,000. We have all these that sold above that price and all these that sold below that price. So that's the median sales price.
Not an average, right? We're
Not an
not
average.
adding it all up
Yeah.
and then dividing by what, 9?
And
We're
it's not
doing that.
indicating what the value of that $500,000 house is. It's
Right.
just saying what was purchased and what was
Right.
paid. So we go to month 2. Now you can see all of these numbers up here, these first 4 numbers are all higher than here.
Mhm.
You can see all the numbers down here are higher than the numbers over here.
Mhm.
But the middle number, that 5th value,
Yeah.
is 400,000. So based on median sales
Yes.
price in this small sampling, median sales price for month 1 was 500,000.
Yes.
Median house price for month 2 is 400,000. That's a 20% drop.
And that is what would be reported. And there
Mhm.
are all kinds of reasons why it's agreed upon that the median number is reported instead of an average that you can Google and go into, and it's kind of a fun
Yeah.
thing
And
to do.
it's a good,
But it's still not representative of what housing values are doing.
that's the key word, is values.
Right.
You can, taking a median sales price and comparing year over year when you have a large sampling over a large period of time, that's helpful. But doing a small micro study like this does not help. And in this situation, just like this media outlets reporting, if we had said, hey, from January to February, housing prices dropped from $500,000 to $400,000. Now people are starting to think, oh my God, that market's crashing. That doesn't mean the $500,000 property is now worth $400,000. It means that was the house that fell in that range.
Yes.
So that's the important thing to understand about median sales
And we
prices.
also have to wonder, okay, at the beginning of the article, they were talking about just DC.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the second paragraph, they've switched to DC metro area, the whole surrounding areas, like we're talking about. So is this 20% drop, which is sandwiched in between those two references, excuse me, is that still, are they talking about DC prices? Or are they talking about the entire metro prices?
It's
So
hard
that's
to tell.
also a big question mark that we don't really.
That's important. I'm going with them talking about DC just because it says in the nation's capital. So that could still be the metro area, but that's what I took it as. So that's the stats that I pulled. Okay.
I did not, because they followed up with my. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you're not-
But
you're
that's
not-
again, like,
Yeah.
do we know, right?
Vague stats don't mean anything.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity. That's
Okay.
the word. Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the last point.
Well, hold on. We got to dive into
Oh,
graphs.
right. I'm so sorry. I hate to bypass your time.
Yes, it's
I
okay.
did not mean. Will you forgive me?
Forgiven.
Thank
Forgiven. Okay. So the first question I have is, why did they pick November over January? Well, because January is always typically a lower month as far as median sales price, because it's in the winter and it's representing December sales.
Yes.
Number 2, November is coming off of October, which we typically have a fairly strong fall market. It would have been painfully obvious if they picked March or June.
Right.
That would have been obvious. So they ended up picking November, and honestly, November was one of the highest median values. That's probably the other reason they picked it.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the heck they got $699. I pulled the median sales price for Washington, D.C. from February 24 to February 2025, and the median sales price in November of 2024 was $464 in D.C.
In
Now,
DC.
yeah,
Okay.
so there are little nuances that you can put in, like sometimes if you're looking at properties and you want to take land out, they'll take land out because that can sell for lower values and skew that. So maybe they did some searches or something, some filters. But what matters is, the simple fact is, comparing apples to apples, in February of 2024, median house price was $419,500. February 2025, it was $450,000. The number is going up. You can see the graph.
Oh, year over year.
Year over year. And just year over year. And compared to November, it was a little bit lower, but that was because it was the time of the season.
That's true. You really need to, whenever you're looking at the home prices, you need to go year over year, February to February,
Right.
year over year, not months. I mean, that's very, very different based on what kind of houses are coming on the market, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's no evidence that the median house price is dropping. So I don't know where they got those statistics.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, they got it from Redfin, it says.
Yeah, so I wonder what kind of search they put in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now can we go to C, to the last?
Yes, the last paragraph. Will you please reread the last paragraph?
Last paragraph.
Or is that a paragraph or a sentence?
Sentence.
Yeah.
Well, it's divided, so it's also a paragraph. It's a sentence paragraph.
It's a pair of sentences. For instance. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Redfin agents in Washington, D.C. reported that return to office mandates and uncertainty for federal workers have caused a listing surge.
Okay. So, a couple things to point out here. Number one, Redfin agents in Washington, D.C. You can find any agent to tell you any story you want because most agents don't do a lot of transactions. Most agents don't know statistics, and most agents watch the media and they freak out. I cannot tell you how many phone calls I get from agents saying the market's crashing. Oh my God! And it's like the market's not crashing.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Are you with?
Yeah, like are you with Redfin? Anyway, so that's it. So it's very vague. Redfin agents. What Redfin agent? Okay, are they? Anyway, in Washington
like which
D.C.
ones?
Yeah, which
Who
one?
would say this?
And here's the thing that the sentence is kind of an oxymoron in my opinion. Reported that a return to office mandates.
Okay, that means they're having to come from our outskirt counties and go back to DC to the office. Okay, so they're going back.
They're going to DC.
Okay.
And so everybody's having to come back to DC to work. So all of the DC owners are going to put their property on the market because they have to go back to DC to go to work.
Now it would make more sense if they said like surrounding counties reported a listing surge because of the return to office mandates.
Right. Which we're not seeing, but that would make more sense.
You know what I told you like last week? I'm like, it is so beautiful because you're like, ABT baby, always be thinking. And I like this about you.
Wow, that's the best. I got that on video. Yeah, baby. So now there is some uncertainty. We're not going to deny that there's uncertainty. We have some buyers that are hesitating because they're reading articles like this. Yeah, and they're reading these articles, and that's why they're having uncertainty.
There are some question marks and there are some real things that we are helping buyers and sellers navigate with things that are happening, politically and especially here in our local area.
That's right.
But it's not this.
It's not this. The market is not crashing. It has not dropped 20%.
The prices are not going down.
No. And maybe for a period of time, like we're going to see some evidence when we do the weekly market report, that maybe we might get a little bit of a flattening for a few months while everybody does figure out the uncertainty.
Right.
But we're not seeing the drops. That's
not
happening.
What did we just hear in our meeting with the top agents yesterday? And they were talking about how many showings in one weekend and how many offers.
Yeah, so they had 33 showings in a weekend.
14 offers. Like one agent was like, we cannot take, the seller wants no more offers. They had 14 offers in one weekend.
And that was out in like Prince William County. That was a little bit further away. But even here in the metro, they're getting multiple offers, and they're going $100,000, $150,000
and that's because we don't have
prices.
enough listings, right? And in spring, we always do get more listings in the market, so that's to be expected. But it's not from this.
Yeah, and the buyer activity goes up.
I don't get it. Do better, Rachel.
Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, if you see an article that freaks you out, please. I'm gonna leave it. If you see an article that freaks you out, please send that to us. We would love to kind of keep up on the news.
Are you kidding?
His
brain loves chomping on stuff like this and running it. You give him a reason to run numbers.
That's right.
Do stats and make graphs.
And maybe we confirm it. Maybe it's a good article. This was not a good article. This was a piece
we'll
of
bring that out too.
POS. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. If you know anybody who is considering buying or selling or investing in real estate here in Northern Virginia, have them reach out to us. They can reach us at 703-783-2143 and or message us on whatever you're watching this on.
Yeah, and you'll see the thing, right?
That's right.
That thumbnail thing. Is that what that is? I've
got
a graphic for that.
You'll see our social media graphics.
Some version
coming
of
up.
price and price everywhere.
Yes. All right, guys. We'll see you on next week's video.
All right. Bye. Hey, everybody.
Sean and Kelly here, Price Group of Samson Properties, and what are we talking about
This
now?
is our market snapshot. That's everything that has happened in the Northern Virginia real estate market in the last 7 days.
In under
5 minutes.
Here we go.
Okay, that top graph you're looking at, everybody, that wavy black line, that is the buyer activity. That's how many, right?
Mm-hmm. It's been a while.
Wait, what? That's the buyer activity. That's how many homes have gone under contract in the last 7 days in our area. The squiggly blue line underneath, that's the seller activity. That's how many new homes have come on the market in the last 7 days in this area. And I see what I kind of was hoping to see as far as listings. So because it's spring has sprung. I love that this is 7 days, not like what we usually see out there, which is like the last several months. This is very, very current.
This is here right now.
Do it. Talk.
Okay. All right. So, as the Miss Kelly so eloquently said, this first line is your buyer activity. That is the demand. That is how many customers are out there looking for the product. Second line is inventory. That's supply. If there's more supply than demand, then we have a buyer's market and prices come down. If there's more demand than supply, then we have a seller's market, prices go up because people want the properties. So you can see that inventory has finally started ticking up since about mid-February. Inventory's finally been going up pretty steadily. Buyer activity's been going up pretty steady since the first of the year. We have seen a little bit of hesitation here with the status with the layoffs and things like that. Buyers are kind of a little bit like on the fence, which is normal. You see that when there's something going on.
I got something to say about that. It won't do too much. Okay. If you are a federal employee and you're getting a loan, please stay in close contact with your lender and find out if they have any additional overlays for the last time they're going to verify employment and what can possibly be done if there's a huge question mark in your situation.
Yep. And if that is something that you don't understand what she just said, call us.
Yes.
Okay, so buyers are kind of a little bit nervous and inventory is going up. So what this means, you can see that the buyers are here. Just because they're a little nervous right now just means that when they get unnervous, because the interest rates came down this week, when they get unnervous, you're gonna see that buyer activity shoot. So right now, buyer activity is here. Yep, and then inventory is here, so they got kind of close together. So the strength of the seller's market this week actually went down a little bit.
So that means it got more to that midline normal market, right? An even market.
Yeah, so it's almost like a normal market out there, almost. So for buyers, don't wait. If you're gonna do this, the best time to buy is when other people are holding back because then you have less competition.
Yeah, and I think the interest rates have ticked down a little bit again. So that's always good too. Yeah,
we're in the sixes again on interest rates, so that's getting some buyers going. So mortgage applications, and Tatiana may confirm this on the Mortgage Minute, but I heard that mortgage applications were up 20% this last week because of that drop. And so the people are getting ready, they just haven't hit the market yet. So again, buyers, don't wait. Get out there and do this now because the inventory is up, buyer activity is flat, it's a good opportunity.
Yes.
We will see that buyer activity start to tick up here soon.
Yes.
So that's what's happened in the last 7 days. Buyers, you do need to be strategic. We are still, like we said in the beginning, seeing multiple offers on properties, but you have other opportunities for properties that maybe aren't as well presented that you may be able to get.
There are ways to get the things that you need, even if that's some contingencies. There are some ways to give you that piece without it being an actual contingency once it's time to offer. So it's a kind of a win-win. So we can talk to you, walk you through all of that.
Like inspections and stuff like that, like how to get it but not be contingent. So
even finance contingencies and all that.
Yeah,
so let's
absolutely.
have a conversation.
100%. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, please let us know. If you're going to be out in the market this week as a buyer, it's property specific. Have your agent do a lot of research on the property. Sellers, if you're considering coming on, now's the time. We're getting a lot of traffic through open houses. And we're getting a lot of showings on properties, so the demand is certainly good.
And we have quite a few office exclusive, like pocket listings right now that you will not see on Zillow or Bright. Your agent won't be able to send to you. Maybe if they're Samson, they can, but let us know that too.
Yeah, if you're able, we personally have a handful, and then we know other agents do too. So if you're looking for off-market properties, reach out to us. Yeah,
and let me just make a plug here. The reason that can be really, really good is a lot of times our sellers will do that when they're not quite ready to open their doors for all the showings. Maybe they're touching up some paint, or maybe it's just a bad time, like with kids in school and schedules and everything else. So that's a good time for you to be able to get in and not have all of the competition that you're gonna have with the open houses and it being open and available to everyone. So reach out to us.
Let me ask you this: does that mean they're going to get a deal on this property? They go in and offer 20% under because it's off market, and
They're not gonna get a seal.
No,
it's not. It's not like a red tag sale, right? It's not that. It's just, hey, maybe you're not gonna go against 14 offers.
Right. Yeah. So you might actually get it close to asking price, but you're not going to get it under.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? Please let us know. Message us if you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest real estate. It's 703-783-2143, and reach out to us, call us, text us. We'd be happy to help you out.
Price and price.
That's right. Talk to you soon.
Everywhere out there.
That's right.
Except, what's the TikTok? It's
it's
not there.
TikTok. We're not on TikTok apparently.
I don't even.
We're not on Pinterest either, are we? Is that
I am.
Oh, great. Okay, bye.
Hey everybody, it is time for this week's Mortgage Minute with our beloved Tatiana Ivleva Lopez with Prosperity Home Mortgage. Hello.
We're back.
Hello. You're back, yay.
Yeah,
yay,
I know, it's been so long. All right, so it has been, gosh, almost a month now. So you probably got some pretty significant difference, because I know a lot of times it changes just a little bit each week, but now I bet you've got a good hat on, a nice hat.
Good, happy, nice hat.
Yes.
For the last week, yes. Today, the day I'm gonna take it off for today, but we're not talking about today, right? We're talking about the whole week. So let's see what was going on here.
Okay.
So the interest rates declined last week for their lowest level of 2025. So they've been pretty much going down little by little in the past few weeks. And we have 6.83 for average conforming rates. Jumbos are a little bit better, actually, 6.68, and FHA 6.49. Sometimes depending on credit score, I quote a little bit better rate on FHA, 6.25 or so. So, it's an average rate right here, right? It all depends on what the credit score is. And here it shows 780 credit score, more than 40% down payment. So that's why it's average. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But, Freddie Mac reports from Realtor.com, senior economist Joel Berners read in a statement that here's what he's saying: we do not anticipate significant relief from high mortgage rates in the near future because of inflation remaining high, which will not be helped by the tariffs that Trump administration appear committed to rolling out. So we know that he came up with tariffs. Now he paused them, and the market actually today is not doing too good for interest rates. So we'll see. It's a roller coaster. It's going up and down, but the trajectory right now, the rates are improving a little bit. Again, with tariffs, possible tariffs and inflation, I wouldn't bet on low rates. And if someone is purchasing right now and they're settling within next 30 days, 45 days, I would just lock it in. As we say, better is enemy of good, right? So I wouldn't I wouldn't play with the market right now. It's very unstable.
Okay.
Did you see? I'd heard on the radio or somewhere that somebody reported a 20% increase in mortgage applications this last week with that little dip in the rates. Did you see any of that, or do you feel like that's accurate?
I do. I did. I feel it. Yes, the loan applications are up. People are applying, looking. And what do you see on the market, like property wise? Do you see more listings?
Yeah, we actually got a nice influx of listings this past week, and buyer activity has kind of flattened a little bit the last 3 weeks. I guess with everybody's or not everybody, some buyers are a little bit like cautious with figuring out what's going to happen with the layoffs and everything. It's still an upward trend, pretty significant. It's just kind of flattened over the last 3 weeks, and then inventory is finally starting to pick up. So it's actually a little bit of a window for buyers where, there are a lot of properties getting multiple offers, but there are some that are making it through the first weekend where a buyer might actually be able to get it at asking price. So it's a good time for buyers to kind of get out there and dive into it.
Especially the ones that are not staged very well, where, those are the ones that they can actually kind of get a little bit of headway in, not like lower than asking price, but
get some contingencies and not bid against 50 people. And,
Right. But remember, what was it, yesterday? I texted you asking if certain buyers and your borrowers that we share, if they were government employees. I was asking because I wondered about overlays with your company about verifying employment, the timing. Like, are you guys having to do that again the day before settlement?
Oh, we always do that, not the day before settlement, but within 10 days of settlement. We do 2 verifications in the very beginning, and then at the end, 10 days before settlement, we always re-verify that it's nothing new to it. But yeah, I know that some people paused, and I was surprised to see that applications are up. However, I don't know if there's really a data, now I'm thinking about it, is there data how the increase in applications correlates with actually people writing offers? Because, you can apply and sit on it, right? And I have clients like that did the application and then they said, we're gonna pause because of this uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen with our jobs or in general. So people apply, but not necessarily writing offers.
Okay.
I think that what we're going to probably end up seeing is here in the next couple of weeks, these people that are kind of holding back are going to start realizing, okay, for the ones it's okay for, they're going to get comfortable and go into the market. So we're going to see a surge, especially if the rates kind of stay in the 6s. We'll see a surge of activity with buyers here in the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Plus, we're getting in that spring market. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's going to be.
It's
starting.
It's starting, and it's almost like it's starting, but it's hitting a little bit of a pause for a second. Not a drop, but a pause. Like we're getting ready to go, and we're about to really dive into it. So but you were saying about the mastermind?
Yeah, so we were in a mastermind yesterday, and some agents in there said they were working they had some deals under contract, and some lenders have put in that new requirement to check employment the day before because of the layoffs. And it actually, there was an anecdotal story. There was an agent where our buyers were supposed to settle on Monday, and they got laid off the Thursday before that. And so then the lender did that final check, and it kind of went up in smoke at that point. They're still working it out, I think.
Yeah, I think they were able to, the same one that was able to kind of find a workaround with like a letter of intent.
I think that there was some conversation about that, but I don't think it was that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I asked you.
Well, no, it's 10 days. I'm surprised to hear that one day before, because that could be nerve-wracking. Not all HRs respond in timely manner. So what are you gonna do if you check in a day before and nobody's responding to you?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know that particular situation, but maybe it just happened that they heard back only on Thursday, or Friday, the day before,
that's
because
true.
HR was slow. Yes.
That's true. They could have done the 10-day check and it came in.
Well, they were saying that lenders had a new requirement to check one day before, and they maybe it was only for if they were government or federal. I don't know what it was, but and that's just the word on the street. That's not anything I know for sure.
Well, and every lender has their little overlays and requirements to cover their bases and make sure that the loan is going to be sellable at the end. Definitely. Yeah.
Maybe it was a VA.
It could be. Well, so That's a good question that came about the VA. We need to ask that another day.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hear you got an exciting product.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
we are
I'm so
really
thrilled.
wanting. We've got some buyers that this is going to be a great thing for. So tell us about this new loan program that you have.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so what happens if you have a house that you want to sell and there's a new house on the market, house of your dreams that you wanted to buy, but maybe you don't have time to sell your current house, or maybe you don't want to be contingent on the sale of your home. You know, when you write an offer, and you tell the seller, I want to buy your house, but I need to sell my first, and there's a competition, the chances are they're gonna pick someone else are pretty high, right? So
Right.
why would someone need to be contingent on a sale of a home? There are two reasons. Either you need to have cash, get the equity out, and so you can put it into the new house. Or maybe you do have cash, you're not really relying on the cash, and you're okay buying it and then selling even few days later or a month later and just replenish your assets, but you don't have enough income to qualify, right? And then that's when it becomes really a pure contingency, that lender would say you have to sell in order to buy because you don't have enough income to qualify for the current home mortgage plus the future mortgage and whatever else you
Right.
have in between there, right? So that's what I want to talk
Right.
about. A little prelude to my buy before sell program that we rolled out. What does it? Yeah, ta-da! So what does it do? It emits the departing residence principal interest, taxes and insurance from the calculation of debt to income ratio. There's no need to get the bridge loan, and so here's how it works. Here's the requirements. For us to exclude that payment from calculation of debt to income ratio, you have to have 30% equity in the property. And the way we determine that, it's a market analysis that are done. Also, we need to have the listing agreement in place, and not necessarily house needs to be already listed on the market, but they need to have a listing agreement with the listing agent. And that listing agreement would have to show that they're going to list the property for more or equal to whatever the evaluation market value we would come up with. Also, we would need to see that buyers have some extra reserves in their account, which what are the reserves? So let's say when you buy the new house, you need to come up with 100,000, right? And you show that you have 100,000, but we also need to see that you have additional money, and they don't have to be in liquid assets. They could be even in 401k accounts, and you don't have to liquidate them, or maybe they're in stocks that you also don't want to sell. We would take those as additional reserves, 12 months of worth of mortgage payment on property that you are departing from your current home, plus 6 months of mortgage payment for the new property that you're buying. So as long as there are enough of reserves, that will take that. What if your current home is already under contract and it's non-contingent contract, meaning there's no contingencies left, right? The buyer of your house, they cleared all the contingencies, financing, home inspection, appraisal, you name it. So we could actually use 50% equity of your property as reserves if you don't have enough reserves elsewhere.
That's good.
That's
Okay.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
those are the highlights of the program. Will it fit everyone? Probably not, but it's something that additional something to look into, and
Yeah.
maybe some clients will qualify for it. I have some people that qualify for it and actively looking right now.
I think that last point, if your current house is already under contract pending with no contingencies left on it, I think that will get a lot more people in
Right.
the game with being able to get that to have that count as reserves. I think that's really good.
Mhm.
So I have two questions. First question is the loan recastable? And then the second question is, on those reserves, let's say you have your 12 months and your 6 months. After settlement, is there an agreement for how long you're going to keep those reserves in a given
Oh,
set
nobody
account?
cares. Nobody cares about that. Yeah,
Okay,
we
you
don't.
just have to show that you have that liquidity.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
just have to show that there are money and they're actually liquidable, right? So you can take the money out, because you might have 401k, but it's not vested, or maybe
Yeah.
it's 401b for teachers, and you can tap to it only if you quit or if you're in retirement age. But so we would look at things like that. So it has to be approvable assets, but we could use that. And yes, the loan is recastable.
Okay, awesome.
Good.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
We have to keep that in mind, because that's something a lot of people are coming up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finally are seeing people that are wanting to sell their house. I guess that maybe they're either it's not fulfilling their needs enough that they're actually willing to put it on the market, but they do need that money to go buy the next house. So it's kind of that, navigating
area.
that. Yeah. In fact, we're looking at one of our clients, we're looking at the potential of find a home to buy contingency.
Mhm.
It's like home buy contingency, because they're willing to sell it, but they got kids and they don't want to be homeless if they can't find a home to buy.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the considerations we're doing.
Open-ended PSO.
So if they
Yeah.
actually need funds, right? They need money,
Yeah.
and maybe they have plenty of income this
Yeah.
is not a problem for them. The bridge loan is one of the options. And I believe we spoke about bridge loans before, but if somebody has questions, I can answer of this, give me a call and I'll explain. Or, and sometimes we're looking at maybe options of someone taking a gift, or take
Yeah.
money from 401k, even if they put minimal down payment, just like you're saying, they can recast later. So they put minimal amount down, and once they sell the house, they will, replenish that 401k. They put money back into 401k plus throw it into principal. And recasting means that you tell the lender to recalculate your monthly payment based on your new balance. Instead of shortening your term, they just recalculate the payment. It costs a couple of $100 to do. It is a very good option, and that's what I also offer to my clients.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. All right. So what's that number for them to call you?
They can call me at 571-245-3000. And we have a lot of new programs outside the box out. So we'll be talking about them next time. So stay tuned.
Awesome.
I know. I can't wait.
I love creative
I do
financing.
too.
All right. Okay. Well, have a good week, and we will see you next week.
Bye, Tatiana.
See you soon. Bye.